The voice of sharing, Durian ASEAN.
Hi, this is Arlene,
Hello, this is Gowri.
and you are listening to
Durian
ASEAN,
ASEAN.
the words of discovery and sharing. Today we have, as usual, Gowri.
Yeah, we are back for our news commentary to share fresh and hot ASEAN and also some important world news with everybody. We want to keep them updated about what's happening around the world, what's happening in this region, what's happening in our country. And today is your favorite day as well. It's a Friday.
Today is a Friday, and today we will have Reza Saleh to be on studio.
Yes, he will be joining us later on for our Blast from the Grassroots to talk about his Merdeka gig tomorrow and of course also share his love for music and why he chose to pursue it full time.
Today also we will be analyzing Thai politics, especially with the military junta. I think he's self-appointed. Is that the right way?
The self-appointed Prime Minister, yeah.
Yeah, a self-appointed Prime Minister with his own self-appointed, or he appointed the cabinet, as well as a military-dominated parliament. To start off the news from today, we have another interesting news that resembles a country that is being dominated by a very strict Sharia rule. But this time, it's not really a country that is known to be like that. It's a country that is known to be secular. And I'm talking about Malaysia. Apparently, 6 beach nudies are being jailed and fined.
So this news caused a controversy when it first came up. This group of nudists were walking around this private beach in Penang. They were carrying out their own sports activities, and they were charged for that. And a lot of people were, of course, not happy, saying that, this is not accepted in Malaysia. This is not accepted in Penang. Lim Guan Eng was very angry about it. And despite all these cries from Human Rights Association and all, they were jailed yesterday and they were fined 5,000 ringgit.
That is very fast, very, very fast. It's a 1 month jail. Can you imagine it? 1 month jail with a 5,000 ringgit fine. And all of them pleaded guilty at the magistrate court here. Among all the people that were being charged are Loh Kok Hong, Moon Wai Peng, Justin Ang Ji Keng, Yam Kam Hong, Lionel Lu Ju Heng, R. Nanda Kumar, all committed the so-called obscene acts at a public space in Teluk Bahang, as we reported a few weeks earlier.
The biggest problem with this news is that they didn't do anything majorly wrong. It's not like they committed a crime. It's not like they raped someone. They were just carrying out their own private activities, and yet they were caught and jailed. And there are all these rapists still walking around free. There are so many snatchers in this country, and all of them are just free. They're not caught. They're not being charged. They're not being fined. And just because you walk around in a beach nude, you get jailed for that.
And they are jailed under the 294 bracket A of the Penal Code with lewd activity in a public place. When it said lewd, I think it can mean anything, which carries a maximum sentence of 3 months jail and a fine of both.
It is very disappointing for this to come from us, especially with the high crime rate that's happening. This compared to that is nothing that severe, nothing that heavy, and yet they are being charged for this. It's considered as a crime, it's considered as a violation, and it's just not fair.
It's not fair. But considering we are living in a multicultural yet also conservative society, when I say conservative, it's not just based on one particular religion, but Malaysians in general are rather conservative. They prefer to keep things to themselves. So when something like this happen, like when 10 people are being naked or more, people cannot accept that, even though they are doing it privately in a beach that nobody goes.
As conservative as it's true. Malaysia is quite a conservative country. We're traditional in a lot of ways, in our values, in our rules. But to put them in jail for 1 month to
And also a 5,000 fine.
That's right. That's where it's kind of crossing the line, because that 1 month you should give it to someone who committed a real crime, not just for nudity.
That's why when I see the word Section 249 bracket A of the Penal Code with lewd activity, my impression would be crimes that involve probably people who, just they are there to terrorize people on the street, like flasher, for example. And I understand that we need laws to protect women, especially, and equally men on this kind of situation. But to have a group of people being charged in a privately owned beach where they are not terrorizing other people is not really something that I would say as it's not something that I would say is in line with the spirit of the law itself or
and
the
not
penal code.
Something that is worth punishing that much. But it seems that 1 man and 3 other women are claiming for trial, so I hope that they get some justice out of that and don't submit to the 1 month of being in jail.
All 10 of them are Malaysians, although Yam and Low, as what the name that I earlier mentioned, hold Singapore permanent resident status. Another person that is also being charged, besides being charged under the Penal Code with lewd activity, is Yam being charged with a second charge of circulating obscene video clips of the event. And it seems like if you are circulating it, you will also be charged under the offence Section 292, which carries a jail term of 3 years. But that's even worse.
But if you just film yourself naked and put it out there, people can make a choice whether they want to watch it or not. If that's not your thing, just don't see it. Why would you go? It's like going to a porn website, watching porn, and say, oh my god, I'm so offended. Okay, these people need to go to jail. That doesn't make sense, because you have the choice whether you want to watch it or not. So just because this woman has been circulating videos of herself, why would she have to be charged for that? Because it's her choice. If she wants it to be out there, then people can always choose to just ignore it, just choose not to watch it.
It's her choice. But also in a passing sentence, Muhammad Najib, which it seems like he is the Muhammad Najib Ismail, he's the magistrate that put the charges on all the 10 people that he deemed as breaking the 5th principle of the nation's Rukun Negara, which is kesopanan dan kesusilaan.
But that is a very subjective thing, when you talk about...
If you put the principle of the nation's Rukun Negara, which is the first one would be kepercayaan kepada Tuhan. What about those atheists who don't believe in God? Are they being charged as well?
They are probably just not considered as Malaysians, or they'll probably be charged as trying to cause chaos in the country, maybe. The lawyer that were defending the 10 Malaysians and also the Singaporeans said that he was trying to defend. This is what he said: in order to gain the trust of the other naturalists, he was forced to strip down naked like the rest. He was just doing his job. So someone is being defensive here within all the 10 Malaysians and Singaporeans there. And we're just not ready for naturalism here in Malaysia, I suppose.
Yeah, you have to do it somewhere else. The next news of today, also in Malaysia, unfortunately, is not... I'm not sure whether it's a good news or a bad news, but it's also a news that a lot of people have no idea it actually existed. It is Malaysia is trying to apply Sharia index from next year. This is being spoken by our Prime Minister Najib.
Yes, and he said a comprehensive index is being developed through an effort spearheaded by the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia, JAKIM, in collaboration with the International Islamic University of Malaysia, and as well as the Islamic Missionary Foundation of Malaysia, which is YADIM. When there is such an index, we will be able to gauge and make comparisons with other countries as to where we have achieved success and where there are shortcomings that we should rectify together. So he's saying that this will be a better benchmark for us to assess how well we're doing with our country.
Yesterday when I was reading this news, a question going through my mind. It's like, what is Sharia law and why is it so important? So I looked through the definition of Sharia law. This is what it came out by the Economic Times, the IndianTimes.com. Apparently, it's quite common in other countries, like Dubai has it, and Indonesia has it, has been approved by the Ulama Indonesia. And a Sharia index is an index of companies that are found to be compliant with the Islamic canonical law of the Sharia. Most Sharia indicates which have been created so far have been based on an existing or an underlying index which constitutes have been screened for compliance by a board or that is well versed in the principles of Quran.
But it seems that going to how the screening is done, as per the same article here, it seems that the screening is done at 2 levels depending on the sector that the company operates, as well as a few other operating ratios that the company works with, according to their annual report. But some companies in a particular index where their business areas are centered around pork, around alcohol, gambling, financials, tobacco, pornography, trading of gold, silver, cash, on a deferred basis, as well as advertising and media, these industries will be left out of the index, probably because they are not in line with the Islamic teachings.
Another interesting point that happened during the speech itself at the International Islamic University of Malaysia at the Islamic Institution of was it there happening? I might get it wrong. Where's the location? But anyway, the Department of Islamic Development Malaysia were present during the speech of Najib itself, which he was Datuk Sri Jamil Khair Baharom, and this is in line with Jakim's purview in terms of getting Islamic rules and regulation, I would believe, into all sectors, including the finance sectors.
So according to Martin L. Ross, he said the reason for the creation of such indices is because it does not view money as an asset, and hence it does not favor the practice of being able to make money from money. As a predominant example, which would be lending money and also charging interest of the same. That's probably why all these other industries. So, are they saying that any company at all which is making money from money, as in making a profit, will not be under this Islamic index?
About the Sharia Islamic index, it's interesting to see because it's an interesting concept, because when you talk about Islamic finance according to the Quranic way, the understanding of money is different from the current understanding of money. As you all may know, the money that we have in the modern days today is not backed by gold like in the past. In the past, it is backed by something substantive, something that they can actually observe in terms of the value of the gold or whatever that is precious, to and compare it together with the paper money. But in today's concept of money is totally different, especially after the Bretton meeting in the early 1940s. Everything has changed. So the current concept of money is very much a capitalist-driven understanding of money.
So it seems that when we apply it, supposedly it will gauge better for us to see where our success, where is our shortcomings and all.
Maybe this is a bit too much to say in a metaphoric way, but it seems like it is like applying a cosmetic on product on your face in order for you to look a bit younger, but in reality you are who you are. I mean, money is what money is, regardless how Islamic Sharia compliance it is. It is the original source of money, the original understanding of the modern concept of money is still very much very much different from the understanding of money in the past.
And it will be a bit of a challenge, I think, because even when we were trying to imply the Sharia law, there was a huge outcry. So it seems that Najib hasn't exactly. It's still an idea, and he still has to go through all the process of discussing it with all the other ministers in the country and all, and see if it's really gets implied next year.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, as long as it's towards the path where there's equality, there's transparency and fairness within the conducts of Sharia, just go for it.
Yes.
And let's see how it goes. Anyway, and what another interesting when it comes to trade issue or financial issue that we have in Malaysia is about an interesting trading partner that we had, but we never disclose it. And we always deny that we have any direct or indirect trading with that particular country.
And that country is, of course, Israel, which we I'm not sure if we should say we, because I was not exactly involved, but I guess a lot of Malaysians were involved in a massive protest against Israel the last couple of months, McDonald's, Starbucks and all. But we talked about it. We know that it's not just about McDonald's and Starbucks. There are a lot of other companies, other organizations that is.
And one of the notable one is the chip companies, the microchip for computers company, which is Intel, and we had a huge trading with Intel. But in overall, Malaysia is number 24th biggest trading partner with the Jew. The Jews in Israel.
The EU Commission of Trade on June 8, 2011 actually placed Malaysia on the 24th spot in a list of 50 countries in their value of import trades with Israel. It also placed the country at the 11th position for exports and an overall of 15th for trade with Israel. If out of 50 countries, being in the 15th spot shows that we do have a lot of trade going on with Israel, and it's not as we keep denying. Mm-hmm. And according to Mustafa, who is one of our minister, he said that in line with the policy and the principle of humanity and world peace, of course, the ministry fully supports the international community's call for the Israelis' brutality against Palestinians in Gaza to be stopped immediately. But he doesn't really say, apart from saying it's indirect, there isn't really much that's being disclosed by our government.
You are right in that sense. The government has not really exposed it that much. In fact, it's trying to distance itself when it comes to discussion on how significant in terms of the trading activity between Malaysia and Israel. A lot of it, the government is denying. In fact, it's saying that a lot of the numbers that you get from EU are actually indirect trading. And these indirect tradings are the reason why we happen to be Israel, it happened to be number 24th in terms of the significance of trading partners among all more than 200 countries in the world. Will you believe that?
There is a report here by APCO Worldwide, which is a Jewish-owned independent global communication, that it seems our opposition leader, Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, claimed to have some documents showing that APCO was involved in creating the One Malaysia concept and the One Israel campaign.
And APCO is an Israel-owned company.
That is right. Mm-hmm. And of course, these are just speculations. He said he had the documents, but there was no proof. But it still doesn't disprove the fact that we do have a very strong trade relationship happening with Israel, as much as we claim to hate the country and that we want to do away with it.
Mm-hmm. In fact, a lot of the non-governmental agency, after knowing it, they come over to the government and say that this must be stopped. The government must explain, and second, all business dealings with Israel must be stopped. Another question that I want to pose to the government, if I'm possible to pose that question, is why Israel is significant to our trades. And from the view of it, Israel is significant partly because Israel is one of the most advanced country when it comes to technology and development. You can't avoid country like Israel when you want to do business because they are the best. And in the capitalistic world, the best wins.
That's right. And even countries, not countries, even companies like Victoria's Secret have some Jewish exports in terms of getting their materials, getting some of their manpower. So it's not just food trade, drinks, computer chips. Even when it comes to clothing, when it comes to your favorite cereal, even they are pretty much involved in a lot of sectors. And like you said, it is kind of inevitable to not be involved with Israel.
When we are talking about the best, especially when it comes to computer microchips, the best is still Israel's Intel. And the government is not denying it. Since 2011, the then International Trade and Industry Deputy Minister, Datuk Mukris Mahathir, in his Twitter, he made a claim that even though we do not have diplomatic relationship with Israel, the trade between companies of both countries is still ongoing. And much of the trade, as I said earlier, is electronic components of parts incorporated into machinery or equipment by large foreign companies operating here, which, in other words, Intel. So Malaysia is very much into Israel in a way. And another country that is into domination of its Islamic State ambition is, of course, it's not a country, it's a movement. It's a large-scale movement called ISIS, and this has caused a lot of superpowers, especially the significant one, US, very worried.
President Barack Obama has said on Thursday that he has asked officials to prepare a range of US military options for confronting these Islamic State militants in Syria, but he said his strategy is still being developed. And at a news conference, Obama cautioned against speculation that he was on the brink of a decision to expand airstrikes against Islamic State beyond targets already being hit in Iraq by US aerial attacks. He is really being very adamant about confronting ISIS, and that is a very bold move, and I think we can take comfort in the fact that somebody is trying to stop them, as much as we don't want US to be the world policeman.
But how effective the US aerial attacks? Because as far as I know, when I watched John Stewart's show, although this is not a very good indication, he actually do not believe in the airstrikes itself. He said that, Israel invaded Iraq in 2002, was it? 2002? And the government was pretty bold upon it. But why the government now prefer to sit back and do airstrikes? Would it be effective or efficient in terms of trying to reduce the might of ISIS?
It will be hard to say, but it is an interesting development, and we'll have to see how it goes, I guess.
The best way to reduce ISIS is to re-educate these people about what is the meaning of life. This is according to Arlene's guidebook.
So there is, as mischievous as you are, there is a lot more political mischief happening in Philippines.
Oh, yeah.
So it seems that their current president, Benigno Aquino III of the Philippines, is hinting at running for a second term in 2016, which would actually require a constitutional amendment, because according to the Philippines constitution, a president cannot run for 2 terms consecutively. But because he has not exactly completed his reform programs, he told the people, I know I haven't done what I promised, so can you give me more time to do it, and I will just run for president again. And of course, we don't know how true that is or how valid this reason is, but
he promised that he wants more time to complete his reform agendas, but there will always be unfinished business. That's what he claimed. The 1987 constitution limits the president to a single 6-year term. The constitution was promulgated under his mother, Corazon Aquino, after the overthrow of the 20-year dictatorship of Ferdinand Marcos. You see, the best way for a prime minister or president to complete his term is to have 2 terms like the US. Each president, the most he can serve the country as a president would be 8 years, meaning 2 terms. Anything over more than 8 years is not allowed under the Constitution of America or the law of America. In Malaysia, unfortunately, we do not have a limit. A president can serve more than 20 years, like our late our last
Our former
sorry about that, our former Prime Minister Tun Mahathir.
And what's even more interesting is he is actually suggesting for the Supreme Court to limit their power in this case. Not only does he want to run for a second one, he is trying to also curb the power of other departments. And I think when it comes to limiting the power of the Supreme Court, he's meddling into areas that he should not be, and they are probably kind of heading away from democracy.
I hope there will be no similar issue like Thailand. I hope more similar issue will be more like Indonesia and other more democratic country. So, Gowri,
yes,
that's all we have today for all our Southeast Asian news and international news.
And before we wrap up, of course, I want to wish everyone Selamat Hari Merdeka. It's a bit too early, but we won't be on air tomorrow. It's just one more day, right?
Yeah, Selamat Hari Merdeka and Selamat Hari Malaysia very soon.
Happy Malaysia Day to everybody. So I hope you guys have fun this Sunday. Go over to Dataran Merdeka or wherever it is. It's time for us all to come together as Malaysians. Although the celebrations this year will not be as grand as the previous years because we are still mourning and paying our respects to the victims of the 2 plane crash.
Yeah, that's all from us today. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Like us and comment to us. And don't forget that if you are interested to subscribe with us, send us an email during ASEAN@gmail.com.
I'll see you in a bit.